Hello and good day. This is the Bible Bard. A bard is a storyteller who in the past recited traditional texts in some local oral tradition, but I'm here to recite and to amplify what the literature of the Bible says about who is God and who are human beings. Here's the place we're at today. When Jesus Christ appears defeated and dying on the cross, his enemies come by and insult him, mocking his life, his work, and his relationship to God. Let's look at the text from Matthew 27, verses 40 to 44, to get a sense of what these four insults are. Here's the text, quote, "You," the enemies say as they walk by the cross, "you who are going to destroy the temple and build it in 3 days, save yourself. Come down from the cross if you are the Son of God." In the same way, the chief priests and teachers of the law and elders mocked him. "He's the King of Israel. Let him come down now from the cross and we will believe in him. He trusts in God. Let God rescue him now if he wants him, for he said, 'I am the Son of God.'" In the same way, the rebels who were crucified with him also heaped insults on him. That's from the NIV. When we analyze this text using literary methods, which is what we do here in this podcast, the first thing we notice is who is insulting Jesus. And there's three groups of people that are mentioned. Quote, the chief priests, the teachers of the law, and the elders. These are the legal representatives of the Hebrew nation. They are society's elites or society's influencers. The chief priests are the people who ran the magnificent temple King Herod built, expanding on the existing second temple, and with Herod's construction beginning in about 20 BCE and completed in about 28 AD. The teachers of the law are a second group, and they were those who are trained experts in the Torah, who could include scribes, Pharisees, priests, or Levites, who are temple workers, a different class than priests. Finally, the third group, the elders, indicates respective older men from influential families who are members of the Jerusalem ruling council, often of the Sadducean religious society, if you know these common references in the New Testament to the Sadducees and the Pharisees. These guys governed often local synagogues. These groups in society and culture of the first century are the ones who most conflicted with Jesus. They saw him as a threat to their power and privilege because of the crowds who followed him due to his miracles of healing and his teaching. The insults they hurled at Jesus while he is pinned to the cross are based upon these antagonistic interactions during Jesus' ministry, and they include the following. Let's break the insults down. The first insult, quote, "You who are going to destroy the temple and build it in 3 days, save yourself." It's Matthew 27, verse 40 NIV. What Jesus actually said, of course, is different than what they claim he said, and this is common with people who are combating someone out of their ideology. What Jesus actually said is found in John 2, verses 19 to 21, which is, quote, "Destroy this temple," and he's patting his chest, "and I will raise it again in 3 days." The temple he has spoken of, the text says, is his body. That's from the NIV. Comment. The insult the people give him when he's on the cross matches the helplessness of Jesus pinned to the cross. And it is against his assertion of power to resurrect his body in 3 days. And instead, they twist that to be resurrecting a physical structure, the temple that took 46 years to construct. So they make a mockery of him and his power by misconstruing his actual statement. The second insult is, quote, "Come down from the cross if you are the Son of God." And, quote, he trusts in God. Let God rescue him now if he wants him, for he said, I am the Son of God. Comment, this insult again contrasts the helplessness of the crucified one against the claim of divinity and omnipotence of Jesus that he makes in John 10, verse 36, where he says, I am the Son of God. The third insult is, he saved others, quote, they said, but he cannot save himself, end quote. Comment, this insult acknowledges that there are miracles Jesus did. He raised people from the dead. He healed genetic disorders, among other horrific communicable diseases. But it is ironic that it places those insulting Jesus in a position now of greater power than Jesus himself. For it remarks that Jesus is unable to save himself from them. That's the implication. The fourth insult is very special. It says, quote, he's the King of Israel. Let him come down now from the cross and we will believe in him. Comment, there's a lot of documented evidence that first century Jewish society expected a messianic king of Israel to come in their time. This was part of mainstream Jewish worldview, and Jesus had asserted himself as this king through the acts that the role of Israel's Messiah was supposed to do, like when he entered Jerusalem riding on the prophesied donkey from Zechariah 9:9. Several times, Jesus also recognizes this royal acclamation of himself as king from others, and he doesn't deny it or agree with it. In John 18, verse 36 through 37, Pilate asked him during his trial, are you the king of the Jews? Jesus answers with a question. Is that your own idea, or did others talk to you about me? Pilate is actually trying to get Jesus to confess, to admit that he's styling himself as a king so that he can say, he can act against him as a rebel to Rome. But Jesus answers something very special. He says, quote, my kingdom is not of this world. My kingdom is from another place, quote. Then Jesus connects this kingdom to truth, saying, you say that I am a king. In fact, the reason I was born and came into the world is to testify to the truth. Everyone on the side of truth listens to me, Jesus says, end quote. Because the king of truth is not a Roman capital crime, Pilate is not going to condemn him because he says he's the king of truth. In fact, it sounds to Pilate a little more like a delusion. But as this first postmodernist person responds, Pilate says, what is truth? Quote. This is his philosophical reply. But in his legal reply, Pilate says to Jesus' accusers, quote, I find no basis for a charge against him. He's not going to convict him for being the king of truth with a kingdom that is not now. So that is how Pilate tries to rid himself of this false charge. Discussion. In the New Testament, these four insults correspond to four key thoughts about Jesus. Number one, he is going to die and then rise again from the dead. Number two, he is the Son of God. Speaking of what the New Testament says in its text. Number three, Jesus can save. And number four, he is the Jewish Messiah, which in Jewish prophecy has three important components. There's the suffering servant of God, who, according to Isaiah 53, must die for both the Jews and the Gentile nations. Second, this servant must be a king. So he's a servant who dies, and he also must be a king who rules in the line of David and will be the promised ruler over the independent kingdom of Israel. You can see 2 Samuel 7, verses 12 and 16. So we have two contrasting roles of expected for the Jewish Messiah. Next, he must be divine, according to Isaiah 9, verse 6 and 7. And finally, D, he must save his people, both spiritually and politically. Ezekiel 37, verses 21 to 28. Now, there's been a 2,000-year-long argument since a person named Jesus was active in the ancient Middle East during the early Roman Empire, the Principate, about these four assertions, these four insults that directly attack the assertions. Summary: the Bible Bard is presenting what the text of the Bible clearly says about these four assertions and their complementary insults. What the text literally states are not debatable. However, every human being responds to these texts is debatable. Jesus either rose from the dead or he didn't. Jesus is either the person he claimed to be or he isn't. Jesus either has the power to spiritually forgive sins or he doesn't. The Bible Bard is presenting what the text of the Bible states because most people have no idea, having never read a word of this literature. The literature of the Bible is not presenting a religion. The Bible Bard, as one who presents this literature to interested listeners, is not a Christian missionary trying to convert unbelievers to a religion. However, the biblical text itself powerfully advocates for a belief in a God who is knowable and approachable. Sometimes listeners to the podcast can be confused because the text presented authoritatively declares it's God and claims he only meets the needs of human beings. But this is what the text itself states. Just as representatives of Jewish society mocked and insulted Jesus Christ while he is on the cross, there are also people today who continue to reject the Bible's claims about him. While the Bible Bard believes the biblical literature is compelling and should not be dismissed, it does not condemn those who insult the Jesus of Scripture. This posture is important because the Bible consistently asserts that God shows no favoritism. His terms for relationship with him are clearly expressed in the biblical text. That text is authoritative. Churches, religious figures, ideologies, and theological systems are not greater than the scriptures themselves. According to the Bible, those who reject its message stand under its judgment, and those who engage in the text honestly to determine whether it truly reveals a living God who responds to those who seek him stand equal before him. The Bible Bard himself finds himself in exactly the same position regarding the message of the Bible as does every other human being who has ever lived. Conclusion: this is the way the Bible Bard works. Brief recitations are closely focused, no distractions, no rabbit trails. We're talking about what the literature of the Bible states, the ideas and concepts it presents, because most people have never engaged with biblical thought. Make up your own mind whether you agree or disagree with the Bible's pronouncements. After watching or listening to a podcast episode, go to www.biblebard.org to download a transcript so you can read and refer to the content of the podcast. You can support the Bible Bard podcast on Patreon as little as $1 a week or $5 a month. Helps to cover the cost of the podcast. You can also give at GoFundMe or at the website donation tab. The Bible Bard himself takes no salary and does not financially benefit from the gifts of supporters to the ministry. Send the Bible Bard any question or remarks you care to offer to BibleBardUS@gmail.com. Glad to hear from you. And thanks in advance for following and sharing the Bible Bard content with others. You know how this works. Become a follower, subscriber on whatever platform you listen, whether it's audio or video, and then make comments and support the podcast so that we reach out further with the text of the Bible. Until next time, this is the Bible Bar.